Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second Monday of Madness of 2026. It is so wonderful to see all of you, and I'm so glad that you're here. And we are going to jump right into the topic of self-abandonment and how it impacts your career. So let's get going. And I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday if you took the holiday yesterday. All right. So if this is your first time here, then let me introduce myself. I am Marissa Krupa, and I am a leadership coach specializing in supporting mid-career women, and I integrate mindfulness and somatic practices into my coaching programs. Today, we'll be using the mindfulness-based stress reduction technique developed by John Kabat-Zinn in the 1970s to introduce and understand the concept of self-abandonment and how it impacts our careers. We'll be doing some movement and then also some journaling or writing. So make sure you have something to write with, even if it's just like scrap paper, that's fine. And then also have some space to move for when we do that later. All right. So the first thing that we need to do is really understand what self-abandonment is. So the dictionary definition is the action of completely surrendering oneself to a desire or impulse. Now, sometimes self-abandonment can be good, like abandoning yourself to the beauty of a beach while you are on vacation, or abandoning oneself to joy when you are throwing a ball for your dog. I have dogs, so I like to do that. When we succumb to the desire or an impulse that's positive and there's a choice there, self-abandonment actually isn't so bad. But it's when this surrendering becomes a habit and we surrender our power, our dignity, our needs, compulsivity, and we do this compulsively or uncontrollably, that's when we get into trouble. All right, I knew that was going to happen. So I caught it. Thank goodness. All right. Somehow when the one goes on and the thing, and anyway, it's technology. Okay, so here's another aspect to self-abandonment. It's really connected to how we deal with our relationships. And we talked a lot about that in the first session a couple weeks ago. That recording is still available, and you can find that in the events section of my LinkedIn page. So here are some characteristics. Agreeing to things that you would rather say no to, compromising your values, ignoring your needs in real time, and then also valuing the needs and opinions of others, especially for you to feel like to feel your own self-worth, right? You're looking for this external validation. What they have in common is that you're putting others before yourself in a way that's become chronic and unhealthy. And the thing is, and I want to just offer any of you who are watching this, if you experience this, and if you are recognizing this in yourself, go easy on yourself, be gentle, because we as women in the workplace, our workplaces reinforce us to self-sacrifice, to self-abandon all the time. And think about it, like, who gets the promotion in your workplace? Well, probably the person who's been pulling 80-hour weeks for the last year, right? Or the person who is answering their emails at midnight and never takes a vacation. Like, they get rewarded with the biggest client portfolio or whatever. So this is something that gets reinforced for us women in the workplace all the time. And so again, just be gentle with yourself. It's not, I guess you could say it's easy to kind of get sucked into this. So now, how does self-abandonment impact our work? Well, it has very real world consequences. There's kind of a progression here. So you'll start out with things like frustration and other strong emotions about your job, then if that goes undealt with, that leads to burnout. Then health problems come in. Now you've got low self-esteem, right? Because you have been devaluing yourself for so long. You might develop a reputation for being a doormat or a pushover in your workplace, and people just pile work on you knowing that you're a workhorse and you'll just do it. But then there's also a loss of income potential here, being fired, quitting like that because you're at a breaking point and then all of a sudden you don't have anything else lined up, or missing out on promotions like we talked about earlier. But the other thing that's really important that is highlighted here because we are women is that this type of behavior unchecked can lead to becoming a victim of abusive relationships in other areas of your life. And we all know about things like domestic violence and stuff like that. So it does have some severe impacts if we do not deal with this self-abandonment pattern. And really what the difference between abandoning ourselves and not really means the difference between living a joyful life or living a life of misery, really is what it boils down to. And so since we spend the majority of our work week working, then wouldn't you want the work to be enjoyable, or at least to find some kind of joy? I know I do. So that's kind of a thing to really think about, is how is this preventing me from living the life that I really want to live? So the first thing that we can do, what can we do about this? The first thing is to develop awareness. That's kind of my big mantra. If you've been to any of these other Monday Un-Madness. But let's really be specific now. We're being aware of this pattern of self-abandonment that we have inside of ourselves, and then bringing that awareness into our communication to support breaking the pattern. So that's really where the awareness is coming in today. And so let's start with noticing the pattern. How do you know if you are prone to self-abandonment? Well, we're going to do an experiment right now. So what I'll be doing is taking you through a series of movements. Now, have your pen and paper handy because we're going to do some writing afterwards. I want to make it perfectly clear that these movements are optional. You don't have to do any of them if you don't want to. When we do these movements, I want you to notice your decision. Notice what you choose, when you choose it, and see if you can feel into your body, why are you choosing to do this movement? And what I mean by choice is this is both choosing the movement or choosing to not do the movement. So becoming really aware as we go through this sequence, what are my choices? Why am I making them? When am I making them? At various times in the sequence. All right. Okay, so I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit here. All right, the first thing we're going to do is just take 3 breaths with our arms up above our heads and then pushing the air away. So inhale your arms up, push the palms together, exhale, press your palms away. Take your arms down. Let's do 2 more. Inhale up. Exhale, press away. Inhale up. Exhale, press away. And now take one hand onto your belly, below your belly button, one hand up on your chest. Oh, I got my microphone there. And we'll just take 3 ha breaths. So when we exhale, we will be making the sound ha, like that. Alrighty, so release all the air in your body. Inhale from the belly all the way up your chest. Exhale, ha. 2 more, inhale deeply. If you'd like to, you can stick your tongue out. Ha. Last one. Ha. Beautiful. Take your breathe your normal breath. Now we're going to do cross crawls. So taking opposite hand to the knee, hand to knee, and we're going to just continue to step, lifting our knees up, tapping our hands. And now go a little bit faster. Keep going. Crossing our over left to right. This helps to develop balance. It helps to connect the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Keep going. See if you can go even a little bit faster. And release. Stand and breathe. And now we're going to go right into squats. So a little bit wider than hip distance apart. And you can use and swing your arms to get some rhythm going here. So as we squat down, our arms come out. Inhale, come up and kind of squeeze your glutes together. So we'll just squat as far as feels comfortable to you. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. And now let's take it up a notch and see if we can go a little bit faster and squat a little bit deeper. Didn't realize we were going to be doing a workout today. Hey, here we are. And go a little bit faster and a little bit deeper now. All right, here we go. And release. Step your feet together, hip distance, stand and breathe. Whew, I should have taken off my sweater. Great job, everybody. All right, so now let's analyze what just happened there. So make sure you've got your pen and paper handy. And I'm going to walk you through these questions. And as I'm reading them out loud, you can pick any or all of them to write on. I'll be giving you some time and space, so take this time and space to write. The first one is, did you do the movements because I asked you to? Did you do any of the movements because I asked you to? Did you do any of the movements even though you didn't want to? And that includes when we progressed, right? So when I said, now let's go faster, did you just automatically go faster? Or did you stop and say, I don't want to go faster? Right? Write down what you did. Did you do any movements because I was doing them? And did you do any movements because you were afraid you'd miss out on something? So once you're done with answering those questions, let's take another 30 seconds or so to write out, what did you learn about yourself? What is your tendency? Do you have a tendency to simply do what you're instructed to do? And again, don't feel bad, because this is most of us. It's kind of what we're taught in school, right? And especially as women, we're taught to just do the work, not really be seen. It's scary to be seen. We've seen people get, what's the word? Chewed up for trying to be seen, right? As a woman. So it's all good. All righty, wrap up your writing now. And if you have discovered that you have a tendency to do things because you're told to do them, or you're afraid you'll miss out, or you want to join in and be a part of with other people, it's likely that self-abandonment is a pattern that's really operating inside of you. And although this may be a bummer to have discovered, I want to tell you congratulations, because anytime we discover something new about ourselves, it is a cause célèbre, right? It is a reason to celebrate. So it's not easy to face ourselves, and it's not easy as we get into adulthood and really further on into our career to be able to reflect on ourselves and learn about ourselves as we go along. So you're doing a great job by learning about yourself today. So that is something worth celebrating. So it's great. Okay, now we've got this new information. Wonderful. Well, when I'm in my workplace, Marissa, this is probably what you're telling me right in this moment. It's challenging, it's fast paced, it's go, go, go. What can I do? And so now this is what we'll be talking about. The very first thing is to pause. And this is truly a skill, and it is learnable, right? And what's important about this is that when you pause, if that makes the other people involved uncomfortable, so be it. Like, to heck with them. Who cares? What you're doing is caring about you. And that is the most important piece of this, is that you are caring for you. So pausing, I like to recommend 3 to 5 seconds. People talk about that old thing of like, count to 10 before you say something when you're angry. And that's a good idea. And even to just figure out, what do I even feel? 3 to 5 counts, right? I highly recommend, while you're pausing, to take a deep breath. Even if it's somewhat shallow, doesn't matter. Just that act of oxygenating your body is useful, and it will help your body to act as that tool to be on your team to help you through whatever you're facing. Now think about it in this way. Let's say somebody came to you and they've asked you for something at your workplace, and they're like, we need an answer on this right now, right? And you just pause. 3, 4, 5. And then you respond. Do you think that person's going to run out the door because you took like 3 seconds to actually give your response? No, they're going to be there waiting because they really need the answer. They're not going to run away. So think about that. Like, if you pause, people will wait for you, because it's not like you're pausing for 10 minutes. It's just a couple seconds. But in that moment of pause, now you can ask yourself these 2 questions. For what reason did I make this decision? Like, if you're leaning towards telling them the snap answer, like, oh, we got to figure out this thing right now. And you're like, okay, this, blah, 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 blah. Well, wait a minute. For what reason did I make this decision? Is it because I want them to see me as being capable? Or is it because this is the decision that needs to be made? And then if I was the last person on earth, would I still want to do this? Would I still want to make this decision? And so I summarize this into a couple of easier to digest words to remember, help you remember. Reason, like, what's the reason for why I'm deciding this? And then, would I still? So that's how I boil it down. Asking yourself these questions while you pause and breathe can help you to develop the awareness and recognize that niggling feeling in the back of your mind and your heart and even in your body that says, no, don't do this. So when that person comes to you saying, hey, what's the answer to this question? We got to figure this out right now. And everything in your body, mind, and heart is saying, don't answer, because you don't have the right answer. You can't answer right now. How can you turn to them and say, actually, we can wait an hour on this. It doesn't have to be answered right now. Let's deal with this at another time or whatever. And this goes into kind of my next example, right? So, wait, did I skip? Hang on. Nope, I didn't. So here's another way you can handle this. You've paused, you've asked yourself the questions. Now, when you're interacting with the people, you want to bring this awareness into your communication. So we can do this by A, naming the thing or the situation, and then B, redirecting or setting a boundary. So here's an example for you. Let's say you've been working all day, you are finally leaving, you're going to the parking lot, and you're on your way to your car, and a colleague or subordinate or somebody runs up to you and is like, hey, so-and-so, do you have a minute? And you pause, because that's what we talked about doing. And in that pause, the other person starts talking, oh, blah, 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 I have this thing and this issue, blah, 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 blah. Here's something that you can do. Take your hand up so they can visibly see this. Hang on a minute. It's been a long day for me, and I need to pause. So you're saying right now, it has been a long day for you, and you need to pause. And that's a totally legitimate thing that you can say. Like, that's kind of the thing, right? So you're naming it right there, and you're letting them know, I've got to pause. This is what I need to do in this moment. Or let's say you already know, I don't want to talk to this person. Then you can say, actually, it's the end of my day. I'm wiped out and I need to leave. You don't have to give any other further explanation than that. You can just say, it's the end of my day. I'm tired. I got to go. Let's schedule some time tomorrow to talk. How much time will you need? 10 minutes? Take out your device, look at your calendar, and schedule with that person. Probably double it, give them 20 to 30 minutes, because that's probably what they need if they're rushing up to you in this huff. Because a lot of times what that's saying is that that person just needs to be heard. Another option to this scenario, you can ask the person, what is this topic about that you want to discuss? Can you tell me in one sentence? And you don't want to sound like you're talking to like a little kid in a school, but find your own words to just say, what is the topic about? Can you briefly summarize? And then if they start talking, blah, 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 which is probably what they'll do, again, using your hand, interrupt and says, it seems like you want to talk about blank. Summarize it in 1 or 2 words. This requires more time than I can give in the parking lot while I'm trying to go home. So let's schedule time tomorrow. Would 30 minutes work? Bring out your calendar, put it in there. Okay. All right. Now, determining whether you have self-abandonment as a thing is kind of hard. And to notice it in real time is not easy. But everything we've done in all these previous months of learning to recognize what our body is telling us and becoming more aware of that is a start to building that awareness, right? So here's another activity you can try. And that's taking those 2 questions that were on the previous slide, putting them on a document, printing them out, sticking it on your wall of your office or your cubicle. And at the end of every day, before you leave, take 5 to 10 minutes and review your day and write out all of the scenarios where you abandoned yourself. And then also document what you felt in your body. Because here's the thing, we often don't realize that we abandon ourselves until afterwards, when we feel it in our body, in our mind, in our heart, and we're like, oh man, that kind of stung. I'm mad, but I'm not even mad at them. I'm mad at myself because I agreed to do this thing and I didn't want to do it, right? And so it takes a minute to really understand that we're doing this in ourselves. So if you write it out for a couple minutes and then look at it and go, oh yeah, I did this so many times today, but that's okay. Pick one scenario that you think you may have the next day, and then make a decision to change how you respond. And you can even write out a script like, okay, when Joe Schmo, my coworker, comes to my cubicle and says something like XYZ, instead, I'm going to respond ABC instead of my usual knee-jerk reaction. And then just put it down, leave. And then when you come back the next day, look at what you wrote and go, oh yeah, I remember. I want to make a change for this interaction today. And give it a try and see what happens. All right, we went a little bit longer than we normally do, so thank you for staying with me. And I hope that you found really great value in this presentation today. And so I'll be putting some links into the chat here so that everybody can experience these things. So if you're looking for like accountability buddies, people to practice, to role play with, all that kind of thing, then check out the Svoboda community, which is what I created on LinkedIn. And then we do have some space left from the Stress to Success Leadership community, which is starting tomorrow, which is super exciting. So check that out. This is the link for that here. And then you can always find more about me and what I do on my website, which is here. So I'm going to double check and make sure that those came in. Let's see. It looks like not all of these came in, so I'm going to put them all right together here. There we go. All right. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm wishing you a fantastically unmad, hopefully short week. And I will see you again on February 2nd, Groundhog Day. So enjoy the next couple of weeks, and wishing you lots of prosperity, peace, and self-awareness.